you playing?
Hello, and welcome to What the Bleep Are You Playing? A podcast where we play a game many times bad and tell you why the bleep we played it. I am Tortured Sean. This is Angry Thomas and Mason, who once again made us play a Wii game. And we played... M&Ms Adventure. Why, Mason?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So we're gonna give you the chance.
The title's not lying, folks. You read it correctly. You clicked on this. You know what you're in for.
And somehow you're less of a sucker than we were.
So I'm gonna give.
Me.
Yeah, that's the system we played it on.
I'm speaking.
No, we
French.
played it on the Wii U.
Wii U. So Mason, you get your opportunity here. Why? Why did you choose this?
Can I guess?
I look simply because I thought
For
it
the
would.
walls.
For the funnies.
Fair enough.
There were no funnies.
Look, I'm not going to reveal, but next week I will be the one that probably you guys are, Sean, why? Why, Sean? So, M&Ms Adventure. We played the Wii version. There is a Nintendo DS version, and there was a planned PlayStation 2 version, but I can only assume that once they played the Wii version, they said, or they said, why do we need another version? We've perfected
We've
it.
made the only version that needs to exist.
Art.
Made perfection.
It was made by Nikitova Games, a company that took a lot to try to track down any of their history.
Yeah, no Wikipedia page. Their LinkedIn didn't give me anything personally.
From what we can tell, this was the final game they created. They also had a weird... this is the third game that involves chocolate.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. They had a big chocolate thing going.
Sorry, their fourth chocolate-based game, because they did Chocolatier, Chocolatier 2, and The Great Chocolate Chase, a Chocolatier twist.
Yeah.
So
I was about to say, they sarcastically, they're the perfect ones to handle a M&M's game.
So, this game is a platform game, and if you've listened to any of our platform episodes, you know that I am bad at platform games.
This is platform and game in quotes.
And each level is themed on holidays.
Because M&Ms, you know.
Because M&Ms.
The whole plot is that we lose a bunch of M&Ms, all of them green for some reason. And
it was the easiest color to program.
Maybe.
Wouldn't brown be really easy? But we only have red, yellow, and green in this game.
Yeah.
So basically, red, yellow, and green can't go home until they collect all 120 M&Ms because they want to go home as bad as we do. So.
And the factory where the M&Ms are created is Willy Wonka's hell, and all the robots have gone rogue
because they have robots for some reason. It's the AI uprising. M&Ms Adventure predicted it.
Well, when M&Ms became sentient and walking around, the robots uprising had to be next.
The robots were next.
Okay, so we on this podcast really try to give as much nuance and try to talk and not just shit on games. So that is going to be our goal here. Let's lead off from the beginning, though. This is a bad game.
This is a very bad game.
I described it as it's competent and nothing else. It's a and I won't even say competent, I'll say partially functioning. You can jump, you can get hit, and there are levels. That's about it. It is the barest minimum. It is the barest of the bare minimum for a platformer.
There's shovelware, and then there's yellow plastic toy shovelware. That's what this is.
This is a game.
This is the only reason that I can see for this game existing is to just have another M&M video game. Which
There aren't that many.
did Carts and Island Adventure come out, or Island 2, or
Carts came out before, Island came out after.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so this is the second in the trilogy.
Yes.
Got
The second in the Wii M&M trilogy, yes.
it. Right.
And I'll be honest, I'm not as angry with this game as the last Wii game Mason made us play, Go
Same.
Vacation. Because I'm a weird guy. I blame the autism. I've got a bunch of weird interests, and one of them, I have a weird fascination, appreciation for the M&M's characters. I really like them. And that's kind of the only reason I was like, not even super. The only reason I didn't punch Mason in the neck for suggesting this is because I'm like, it gives me a at least slight chance to talk about these M&M's characters.
Yeah. I made a comment while we were playing that I'm kind of surprised that we haven't gotten like a TV show or a movie based off the M&M characters, considering how kind of prevalent and recognizable they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're well-defined characters. They're not deep or anything. But,
No.
But
But you could create depth out of them. You could easily create some
Absolutely.
depth out of them. This game does not try one bit.
this game doesn't try.
Red M&M doesn't like to work. Yellow M&M
Also doesn't
like to work. And green M&M likes tennis.
That's it.
There's your
For
characters.
some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why they gave her that character development, because I don't remember any commercial where...
I think there has been, because I know I've seen promotional material with the tennis racket.
Oh,
but
really? Okay, then.
I think they did at some point. I could be just grasping at straws here. So
I don't know. I like the M&M characters. I have not gone through and have an encyclopedic knowledge of them. So
this was also a 2008 game. And
yes, 2008.
and-
In retrospect, for the Wii, Mario Galaxy came out the year before.
So at this point, there are a lot more M&M characters, and so when we say bare minimum, they really bare minimum a lot of it. Like you would think that they'd have more characters at the time. I want to say this is when like peanut butter M&Ms were becoming really really big.
Yeah,
peanut M&Ms were a thing. Pretzel M&Ms were a thing.
Yeah,
like
because at this point, I think this was before Ms. Brown, and obviously the new purple M&M.
yeah.
But other than that, I think all the cast was laid out. We had blue, we had orange, and we obviously have the three here.
So there's a lot of stuff in the M&M world, that exists that they could have done to make this game. And this game, as said, it's a baby platformer, and it is very easy, which is very the juxtapose us coming off of Call of Duty and then playing this is the difficulty, or even coming off of Simpsons game, which was a platformer, which isn't a super hard platformer, but definitely programmed for an audience that had played platformers. This is programmed to be baby's first platformer.
The Simpsons game is programmed for people who can count higher than 10.
Yeah.
M&M's Adventure isn't.
Yeah.
There is very little resistance to completing the levels other than bad game development.
The enemies can hit you and they can rack up the damage, but you have so much health that...
And there's health everywhere.
I don't think it's unsafe to say I'm the one who played the most of this game.
Yeah.
I didn't beat it, but I went through the first two worlds twice, and I was done. I was like, I didn't have anything. And by the end of it, by the final part, I was literally just taking the damage and running. Like, I didn't give a shit.
The game... simplicity can be a really good thing in video games.
Yeah.
This is an example of where you can get too simple.
It crosses the line between simplicity and just plain laziness.
Yeah, and I'm not going to ever say that a developer was lazy or trying to do that, because people's jobs were online. People worked on this. This was their livelihood.
But At the same time, do you really feel like there was any passion put into the
Probably
M&M Adventure game?
not.
No, but
also it might be a studio closing because this was their last game.
and it's also not a big studio.
Who knows what kind of budget they were given? Who knows what kind of development timeline? There's not a lot of information on the backside, behind the scenes of this game. There really isn't.
There's not a lot of information. There's not a lot on the developer. Like we said, they don't have a Wikipedia page. We had to look them up. The publisher, even Zoo Games, I believe is basically just shovelware.
Yes.
I believe so.
So when you have the publisher, Zushi Games.
Zushi, yes.
But Zoo Publishing is what it was before. Literally after this game, it changed into Zushi.
Damn.
Wow.
They've made a lot of games. Obviously, like they've published a lot of big games, like the Pac-Man World games on Game Boy Advance were something they published. So like there is a little bit of money, but this definitely feels like a hey, we need to get some games out. We need to make a little bit of money. This is a license that we know will at least sell something because it is recognizable. Parents will probably get this for their kids.
Yeah, this is the game Grandma got for little Timmy on Christmas morning, and he became Mr. Scrooge after that.
Because there is absolutely no violence. You're not going to get any swearing. There's nothing. It is like truly for somebody who doesn't want any negative. This is the rated G game.
it's about one level above, say, a Dora the Explorer game.
Yeah.
If you took out the enemies in this game, I could see it being rated early childhood.
Yeah. It's very. It kind of reminds me. I haven't played this, but it reminds me a lot of the Go Diego Go game. Where there's not a lot to it.
No.
And again, I don't envy these developers.
No, not at all.
Because imagine you are a developer in a closing studio, and you get your next assignment, and it's M&Ms, and you're like, well, what the fuck do we do with the M&Ms?
And outside of when they did Showtime Championship Boxing the previous year, this is their only other game that was not a PC game.
Interesting.
Yeah,
so like Mac and PC is where they developed their games. So, and the Wii is notoriously hard for developers.
Mm-hmm. It's on the same level as say like the PS3.
Yeah, in some ways higher difficulty because of the control setups you had to deal with. So
there's a reason.
Absolutely don't envy the developers who may be on their last leg. So that's where I would refute laziness and more being like, look, there are ways to make it, but you may be like, we have to get a game out. We have to make some money. The doors are closing.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, there's not a lot of information. There might have been like 4 people in the office at any given time. So who knows at that point?
Yeah.
And again, it's especially when you don't know. That's when it's like, I don't want to claim laziness or claim.
Mm-hmm.
I will say lack of passion because
absolutely,
but because there is just nothing here. But again, could be because what is there to give for M&Ms, especially when you're on your last legs.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a whole lot of passion behind this game. That is kind of evident in what came out. So I have no problem saying that. Yeah, it feels like we had to come to work and we had to do our job, and well, we did our job, and this game is playable. So. But that's about the best compliments we can give is, hey, this game is playable.
It's functional. That's about it.
But I think the thing that kind of endeared this game a little bit to me is its really awful quirks make this game hilarious at times.
There is no polish to this game at all.
The lack of animation, the lack of frames of animation for your characters jumping up and down.
Yellow especially jumps like literally. It looks like you just picked him up in Photoshop and is dragging him.
It is hilarious. The faces are just painted on there.
They're textures.
They're just textures. The first quote unquote boss fight, you fight Cupid, and you do it by jumping on things and electrocuting him, but he never touches them, and his face is just flat with the same dialogue repeated over and over again.
Yeah, There's no beating around the bush. This is the first game we've covered that I consider this is shovelware.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and I don't normally, there's plenty of videos that talk about shovelware, but I'm also like, I don't know what else I can add to a lot of them. Like, I'm not gonna suggest Ninja Bread Man or whatever the fuck it's called for the podcast, because what can I add?
Yeah. There is an element also of this game that we found afterwards, is there is a little bit of a speedrunning community in this, because the game has so many glitches.
There is a speed run. The world record is around 9 minutes. 9 minutes and 32 seconds.
Which is amount of all the gameplay that this game is worth.
And they can glitch through the final... they can glitch through the door to the final level before collecting any of the M&Ms. So, honestly, that's in character for these characters, though. Because you know that it'd be like, oh, you have to collect all these, and Red would be like, fuck that, and just try it and just pick the lock or some shit.
There was a moment where I was jumping, and I was just trying to jump up. You had to jump up on a platform to get over this fence, and I just went directly through the
Just went
fence.
straight through the fence.
And it was
Kill
hilarious.
Kill me.
Yellow gains the powers of Shadowcat, so...
But Red has a glider. That's his power.
Red has wings, but they're... Okay, so in a normal game, like, for wings, you just press the jump button over and over again. Here you just hold it, and there is no reason to not just hold it the whole time.
Yeah.
Yellow has a double jump.
And Green has a tennis racket.
That's it.
For some reason.
But that's like the thing is, like, Yellow's power being double jump. And you're like, wow, this thing that is now in every platformer is a power?
Yeah, and I mean, oddly enough, not having a double jump can lead to good game design, like Banjo-Kazooie, Mario,
and
even modern platformers. There are ones without double jumps that work. The problem is, this game is designed to the point where it feels like they gave Yellow the double jump just so they could easily design alternate levels. So,
because you go back through the levels with each character, and it was very funny how easily you could break some of the levels when you were going back as Yellow.
Yeah.
including phasing through the fence.
And phasing through the fence and jumping at higher heights, or to be like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to go that way? Cool, I can just jump on top of it. It is a very... I don't want to say it's unique, because there are hundreds of platforms that are same, but it is definitely an experience. I'm not telling you, hey, go out and buy M&M Adventure, people. But if you've got a Wii laying around and you want a really weird, unique experience,
You're a glutton for punishment.
and you just, you want to waste an hour and a half. It's not expensive. It's an easy thing to do. So
I got this game for like $7.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit more about the gameplay. Let's focus in on the controls here, because it's a Wii game. So, of course that should be the center of discussion on a Wii game is, controls. I was pleasantly surprised with the camera, not how it moves necessarily, but like that it missing platforms were rarely because the camera sucked.
That is when, like, there are plenty of good games that we played with bad cameras. I wouldn't call the camera in this like great or anything, but
I was legitimately surprised multiple times where I'm like, oh, this camera actually doesn't feel awful, and the controls are basic. The problem is that because of the lack of animation, sometimes you're doing things and they just don't work.
They just don't. Yeah, you do the things and then they don't do.
There is also, I will say, there is no weight to the characters when they
None.
jump.
Oh yeah.
Physics does not exist in this game.
Yeah. There is weight when you're on the ground, oddly, because Yellow is slow. Because get it, he's the big one. But it's just there's no. The physics in this game are fucked, and I know like. The thing is, it's a platformer, and I'm not asking for a lot, but there's a lot of levels that are on conveyor belts.
A lot.
And the physics are just not there for them.
The creators were like, you know what is my favorite thing in video games? Conveyor belts. I play it. I play Crash Bandicoot for that one level with the conveyor belt.
One of the developers saw the ending scene in Toy Story 2 and went, "I got it."
I have the greatest idea, guys. I know how to make a game. Well, who are you going to star in this? You're not going to believe it.
cares?
I've got this. Before the movie, I saw a commercial.
Bill, are you saying you want to make a game starring the M&Ms? Yeah. Fucking okay.
Which I think it's interesting that as we play this game, if you look back at some of the other M&M's game, which I was doing because I was like, all these, the platformer has been pretty common for it, but like the one on the PlayStation is a Crash Bandicoot clone, and it's like that seems to fit the M&M's a lot better than this generic platformer.
That's honestly what I thought it was going to be like, because the first sort of level takes you through a hallway in the beginning, and I was going to be like, oh, it's just kind of like Crash Bandicoot. It's not.
No,
It's
It's
not.
not.
It feels, at bare minimum, I can say it's kind of Mario Galaxy-esque, because they're sectioned off levels, but they're a bit wide open.
it is
and you've got some
absolutely
collectible, but-
trying to be Mario. That is absolutely the platformer it's going for. From jumping, from the way all the platforms, from the separate worlds, it is absolutely trying to be baby's first Mario. Emphasis on the baby in this part.
And emphasis on that.
It's, you know, you want recommendations. Who should you get M&M's Adventures for your Christmas holiday? Your 3-year-old cousin. It's about
You're someone that you know who is 9 months pregnant and is about to give birth soon. That make this their baby gift. They'll enjoy it.
and then they'll kill you. Again, I'm not angry at this game. There's nothing to get angry
They're
at.
really,
It just exists, but part of that is kind of its weird charm. Like, I'm gonna come away from this game not like upset or angry at it. I'm actually gonna be more fondly remember playing it here. Is like it was a weird, dumb, bad game, but it was fun to sit down and play with people and like run around and laugh. So like there is that to it. It's really odd that of all the type of things, like there are so many things you could do the M&Ms, and the 3 Wii games are just like, well, what if we make the worst kart racer ever, a very basic platformer, and then, oh, you know what, the Wii has lots of party games.
Yeah, it's just... I think it's because they're food mascots.
I think so.
A lot of people, they see food mascots and they're like, okay, we're not going to put any effort into this. But the M&Ms have effort put into their characters. They have effort put into their commercials and everything. Fucking the commercials with Patrick Warburton back in the day, goddamn hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's just...
They still are playing the Santa commercial 20 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The He Does Exist is a commercial that has been
And
existing for decades.
Yeah, and it's still on loop because it's fucking funny. And these characters, I think, jumping a bit ahead to the final question, these characters, I think, can work in a video game. And I know this is going to be a weird-ass thing. Like, people are going to be like, oh, the M&Ms, they don't work. And it's like, oh, the M&Ms. Who wants the M&Ms in a video game? These 3 fuckheads. But, like, it's just something that I genuinely can think happen. It's the same thing with, like, you could make an M&M's movie or an M&M's TV show or, again, an M&M's video game.
Well, since this podcast, we don't have a ton more to say on the game itself, but I think I could come up with a pretty good question here to talk here, and that'd be I'll propose it here on that. Thomas, if you could have an M&M's game, what would be your ideal M&M game? Like, what genre would you like to see them in?
A GTA clone.
But instead, like, running around and shooting chocolate.
My first thought was actually, like, for the memes, just a third-person shooter. But no,
I mean,
If-
Larry Boy was able to do a lot of third-person shooter tactic stuff in a VeggieTale game, so, like, you could do it. It's just you have to have imagination.
yeah, in all honesty, if I were to make an M&M's game, what I'd honestly do something similar to this, just with, polish and more development time than 2.5 weeks. So something like this where it's the M&Ms they're kind of platforming around, but maybe add a little bit more to it, add some more character specific abilities. Maybe give Red the double jump because he's the basic character, and then give Yellow, like, he can lift heavy objects. Green can shrink like Tiny Kong from Donkey Kong 64.
That is, if they were going to stick with the platform, that I feel like is the platformer they should have kind of modeled themselves after, is Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah, with the multiple playable characters.
Yeah.
Hell, even... Again, we said it as a joke. Give them guns.
Well, yeah, because Donkey Kong did that they had the weird little... Like, you can do weird things. Again, if you're aiming for, like, super young kids and things like that, you can still have... Especially if the enemies... Look, we just played a Simpsons game, and the first level is, like, destroying chocolate, you know, in Homer's Fantasy. So, like, you can find ways around to make different genres. I think legitimately a platform fighting game like Smash Bros-esque, but with the M&Ms.
What would their movesets be?
I don't know, but you come up with some funky, weird moves with them that maybe don't even really, like, you would think about. That's something that I'd be like, you know what? It could be really basic and things like that, but, like, you can keep the platform mechanic, but have more of a fighting game. I know that it was done with every genre of every license on the Super Nintendo, but, like, a old school, like, beat 'em up. You could actually work, because considering the characters, the arms and legs are their extra feature to them. They're M&Ms, but they have arms and legs, so you can do more with them than just
honestly
jumping.
I would like to have kind of an M&M's beat 'em up, because I'm just imagining, like, you can do these co-op moves. Maybe, you know, Yellow picks up Red and just hurls him, like throws him like a frisbee. Maybe you can do that with, like, a Peanut character and a regular character. Like, imagine, just imagining Orange getting tossed like a discus, freaking the fuck out the whole time. Like,
yeah, you know, there's that commercial that plays still where they're like, this is not a movie, this is an M&M's commercial, and all the way they act like that. Take that kind of, like, meta-ness, I think would really work for the game. Or, if you want to focus on, like, Green being still tennis, like, that could still be a thing. Like, if you want to focus on the tennis racket, cool. Use co-op abilities to, like, the M&M, arms and legs go in and you whack them with the tennis racket and have them fly, and that's how you take out. And you don't have to have, like, crazy enemies. They can be chocolate. It can be...
I was going to say, genuinely, if I were to make a story for this M&M's, this theoretical M&M's game, sorry, I couldn't think of the word, do that shit. Do that one controversy they were in lately, where they got replaced by Maya Rudolph, but they just get replaced by a random celebrity, and it's like, you can't replace us. Oh, yes, we can. So they have to go on a journey to get their position back.
There are definitely things that can be done in this with these characters, and I think that's probably my biggest complaint about this game, other than the gameplay, is like, you took these you could have put any single character, anything in this,
and you didn't do anything with
There's nothing unique. There's nothing unique to M&Ms in this at all that would make it separate from whatever else. You could throw 3 other random characters in this game, and it would not change the game one bit.
Yeah, even all right, just for the jokes, because they are the voice actors that aren't in the game. The voice actors for Red, Yellow, and Green are Billy West, J.K. Simmons, and Cree Summers. So you could honestly throw Philip J. Fry, J. Jonah Jameson, and fucking number 5 in here, and it would play the exact same.
Wouldn't change, yeah. Which that would be a very weird combo.
That would be a really weird game, but those are the first characters I thought of on the top of my head.
Like, if you really want to get really ambitious or have something really ridiculous, imagine a Simpsons M&M crossover where Homer's trying to eat the M&Ms and you're trying to...
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Pac-Man, but replace the dots with M&Ms.
And Homer.
And Homer's
It's
Pac-Man.
easy.
Like, there's dumb, fun things, especially if you had passion, license, willing to try to figure things out, and if whoever is publishing it and producing it is willing to dump just a little bit of money in it. Like you can do a lot of things with it. But I think this game, because even down to like the nuts and bolts of it, like there's no voice acting really. Like it's in the cutscenes, and then you have occasional little lines. But like they're one of the things we loved about the Simpsons game was how the dialogue was back and forth and unique and well written. And it's like, even though that was just basic platforming most of the time, this is just there's nothing but the same repetitive music going on with really weird sound mixing and sound effects.
So, the thing about this game, and the actual kind of secret number 2 reason why I picked this game is because, so the Wii was a phenomenon.
Yes,
I think we can all agree with that. It sold in its lifetime over 100 million. Million systems
sold in the buttloads.
It was near impossible to find Wii's for months.
It was a massive console, and if you look at the sort of the legacy of the other consoles that were around at the time, the 360 and the PS3, they've held up really well. I think you see a lot of people coming back to that console, and yet when you look at the Wii, I don't really, apart from like a couple of exceptions like Mario Galaxy and the
Wii Sports
and the Metroid Prime games, you never really hear about a lot of people going back to the Wii to play some of those games. And I think a big reason for that is because the Wii was inundated with games like this. It was the shovelware machine for the longest. Like I see people on TikTok and other places on the internet complaining all the time about how bad the eShop on the Switch is. And yeah, it's pretty bad. There is a lot of shovelware on that. It is still nowhere near as bad as the Wii.
But you're also getting tons of good content and tons of good things on the Switch to play. And yeah, this is
because the Switch is also a really good indie machine.
Mm-hmm.
And like and even though there is a ton of shovelware on the eShop, it's still a digital storefront. So it's still easier to find the games that you're looking for in the digital storefront. On the Wii, all the games were physical, so you're looking at the Wii section and it's just wall-to-wall shovelware most of the time.
That was a big thing. I remember when I got my Wii, I stood in line at midnight for the opening day and was number 51 out of 50. And didn't get it. And then I went to another store and they only got one Wii in, so it was a raffle.
No.
Yeah, so like the short, so I got it, I want to say 6 or 7 months later, when I'm doing they have a Wii, buying it. But that was the reason why I eventually sold my Wii eventually. I couldn't never really, I was like, what am I going to out of my way to play? You know, okay, Smash Bros. Okay, that was about the only game that I was like, yep, I'm going to pour my time in. I played Twilight Princess, Legend of Zelda. You know, you played Link's Crossbow Training, Wii Sports. But I always was looking for like, oh, I want to play, you know, a fighting game. Oh wow, the Wii fighting games kind of all are not great. Okay, they had great rail shooters. I'll give it that. Like, there's some great rail shooters on the Wii. But like, it never. Partly because it was really hard to develop for, and so you just ended up with like quickly made licensed material. And yeah, that's something about the longevity or the legacy of the Wii is kind of more of like, it was such a weird, unique phenomenon. But when you asked people what game they had for it, it was almost all, yeah, I got Wii Sports. Oh, you mean the thing that came with it?
Right, yeah, exactly. Like there was just so much shovelware on the thing that's kind of just what it's ended up being known as, is the shovelware machine, which is really disappointing, I think, because there's a lot of great Nintendo-made Wii games on that console. It's just a lot of the third-party efforts on that console were shovelware.
Not even, it wasn't just Nintendo games. Literally on the table right now, because I was playing it before M&Ms Adventures, I have the Conduit. And that game's not great, but it does take advantage of the Wii in a way that I think works. We just talked about Call of Duty, so the Medal of Honor games on the Wii.
There were Call of Duty. There were even Call of Duty games.
There were Call of Duty games on the Wii, so it's
bad ports of Far Cry,
and an actual pretty solid one, but that one was made originally for the Wii, so it doesn't count. It's it's always just interesting to go back and... Because, yeah, that's the thing. The Wii does have a lot of good stuff. Even if there's stuff that's not great, like, say, Epic Mickey, for example. That game's got flaws, but it's still an interesting topic. It's still interesting to talk about. But then you look to your left, and there's Ninja Bread Man, or there's just wall-to-wall shovelware, like Mason said. And, yeah, it is sad, but at the same time, the Wii sold, like, a assload of units. I'm not crying river.
Yeah.
It's like,
But-
poor Nintendo selling 100 million consoles for a game that's just full of shit games. Oh no.
But at the same time, it is kind of the Wii legacy. I will say is tainted because of it.
And I think to bring it back actually to M&M here, I was expecting garbage controls. And we just got basic controls. Which, for the Wii, sometimes was like, oh my gosh, these controls actually function?
Yeah,
They work.
Wow.
I'm gonna be straight here, and I'm not memeing. I genuinely think I would rather play this than Go Vacation.
I think so too.
Because Go Vacation just... And again, maybe I was just located wrong. Maybe the sensor bar was fucked for me. But I could play that. I couldn't just... I twisted and turned and just cramps upon cramps and shit. And I'd rather play this than Sonic and the Secret Rings, let's say. Or something like that. Where it's just bad motion controls. This is at least is just kind of normal stuff.
Its biggest complaint, as I said, it's overly simple. But it functions. It functions. Everything that they do, even in the glitches, everything they do at least functions in a way that you could sit down and play it. That doesn't mean that you're going to seek out it, but it is absolutely a playable game, and not in a like, oh my gosh, nothing works sort of way, which is kind of what I was expecting when you say, hey, it's an M&M game for the Wii.
Yeah, I was expecting the worst of the worst, but what we got was just there, but in some ways that might make it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, in a way that might make it that makes it that it's not even bad enough to be memorably bad.
Yeah.
Although in some cases I think it was memorably bad with some of those glitches.
Which made me laugh so much. Gosh.
That is fair. Like, how mad can you be at a thing that makes you laugh?
Yeah, and that's I think the thing from it is like, there's no anger, there's no, oh my gosh, I can't believe we played this game that has happened before. Each of us have experienced that at one way or another while playing one of the games we've suggested. And this game was just kind of, that was an M&M game.
Yeah, it's like, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, on this podcast, we like to ask 2 important questions of every game that we play. The first one is, how does this game hold up?
Ha!
That's the big, because like, again, it is playable, it functions. So at bare minimum, cool, it holds up. But there is nothing graphically that really holds up.
Nothing graphically.
Nothing graphically.
There's no spark to this game.
Yeah.
So there's just... Yeah, there's just...
I don't know why people would play it in 2008, let alone why now. Like, why would anyone set out other than be like us who are doing it for podcasting or collecting or...
If we need to play every M&M's game.
Yeah.
It's the journey.
It may not hold up well in the visual department or the controls department or the sound department or the writing department. However,
I think it holds up fine in the control department. I will say camera and controls are the 2 things that I think hold up fine. I'm not going to say they are great or anything, but they aren't like they aren't something that's like, oh my gosh,
they aren't egregious.
That's unplayable because it's a part of its era, It's not, oh god, how hard. We've mentioned this before in other ones. It's not Resident Evil 2 or
It's
controls.
I don't want to die playing this game.
Yeah.
Basically.
So like they hold up in that they are fine. But yeah, the graphics, the writing or lack thereof, the voice acting, where like Cupid's voice actor. I would not surprise me if it was just some, one of the developers is like, yeah, I'm going to go record lines quickly.
It's just like, hey, you there, come do this. I'm only a janitor.
You just Just one of the developers is like, all right, coding's done for the day. Just puts a blanket up over his desk and just starts recording for Cupid.
It was. I was. I mean, I wouldn't want to say shocked at the voice acting, but I was just like, oh, there's no effort put into these voice acting. And again, whatever voice actors, I'm glad you got a job and a paycheck, and hopefully you went on and did better things. You're not. I don't think any of them are highlighting, "Hey, I did M&M Adventures" on their resume.
Who voiced Red M&M in this game? Troy Baker.
He's in everything. Yeah. But like that's just an element of
James Bloom.
I think that is the thing that held up the worst of the game is absolutely the voice and the sound design and the sound effects.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is fine in a stock music sort of way, but it is just repetitive. There's like 4 tracks in this.
Semi-repetitive music.
But also some of the menus don't have any music. And
what menus?
Well, the loading screens. My apology. There are no menus in this game. That's something.
Pause menu.
No pause menu. So things that don't hold up are a lot because like we joked while playing it. You know, we've played games with really bad UI, and this game was like, ha, we've solved the bad UI. We won't have any UI.
We just won't have it
because there's no fucking pause in this game, and I genuinely think that's the most baffling thing.
Especially for a kids game, like a kids game usually you have like pauses so you can go look at the controls and the menu, things like that. And kids pause things all the time because they are kids and running around.
Right.
Even the worst of the worst games, admittedly, we've played, they have fucking pauses, and that's just That's the most baffling thing about this game. Yeah,
and so overall, I'm gonna say I think we kind of all agree it really doesn't hold up, even if there are elements that do. But yeah, now the fun question. The second question that we ask of every game that we play on this podcast. Would you like to see a remake or a reimagining of this game in a modern setting?
3, 2, 1, no.
Unreal Engine 5 M&M's Adventures remake. Let's go, baby.
So, of this game, no.
No,
obviously.
This game, no. I mean, I guess if you rebuilt it from the ground up and reimagined it entirely, like, and added stuff,
but at that point, you are making just another.
Yeah.
No, wait, hold on, wait. No, it's still no.
Yeah, so like there are elements that you could, but like there's not enough here to remake and make a fun game. Would I like to see M&M's games? Yes. This is kind of like the thing sitting there. This is kind of an untapped area in media that we haven't seen. Like, again, there's no TV show, there's no movie, there's very few games. Like, this could be something that legitimately these characters could be used in a way that could absolutely make interesting and fun games. We've only seen 3 genres in this used as well. Like, there's so many.
We've been platformers, racers, party games. That's it. So.
Yes, the 3 genres.
And you could. I said you could have different. Would I play an M&M fighting game? I'll play any fighting game. So yes, I would play an M&M fighting game. But like, would I play a weird? Like, if you did a weird, like, you could almost Mario these characters that like they could put on any costume or whatever and play any design. A weird medieval fantasy RPG, but the M&Ms are the main characters. Yeah, I'm kind of down with something like that.
Yeah, I'd play Final Fantasy M&Ms.
Exactly.
It'll be the only Final Fantasy game I've ever played.
M&M Fantasy, you know, there's things you could do with this franchise or these characters.
And look, I know that there's probably some people listening to this and being like, "Come on, really? M&M's characters making video games? Come on." Ernest, Lego Movie, just so many other commercials have made movies. Why not give the M&Ms like a solid enough game?
Pepsi Man.
It's
an example.
The thing is
true.
Because they've kind of evolved beyond commercials, but nobody has really taken them into it. Yeah. Like,
I mean, there's
everything is a commercial. Transformers, the show, was a commercial for toys.
Hell, one of the biggest movies of this year is arguably a commercial for Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, so there's just because it's commercials doesn't mean that it's automatically just trash. Yeah. And I feel like again, commercial mascots always have a... And I don't want to see, obviously, every commercial mascot get a fucking IP like
No.
this or something. But
Does anybody remember when the progressive caveman got a TV show?
don't remind me.
It's so
What?
easy. A caveman can do it. Yeah, there's a TV show that they got. I think it only lasted like 7 episodes,
Don't
8
remind
episodes.
me.
It was,
Don't remind
but
me.
yeah, like that's the sort of thing. Like it's not or not impossible to take something like this and make it into a video game. And I think when we've talked a lot this season about crossovers and how I think this is a I don't want to say a gold mine, but there is an absolute avenue to make, even if you're if you're an indie game developer, and you can get the license briefly or things like that and do this, a $15 classic, graphically feeling games. I would play them.
It wasn't Progressive, by the way. It was Geico.
Oh, my bad. Wrong insurance
How did
company.
the caveman get a show before the gecko did? He's such a better character.
I don't know.
Off topic here, would I play the Geico Gecko video game? Probably.
Oh, we have Gex.
No, see, okay, now here's an idea. All of the insurance company mascots fighting game. So you just have J.K. Simmons fighting Flo from Progressive. Because J.K. Simmons is the farmer.
Yeah, he's the State Farm guy.
Farmers
yeah.
Insurance, yeah.
State Farm is
Jake from
something
State Farm.
Correct.
The
Both
Geico
versions.
Gecko, yeah. Look, there.
The world's most interesting man.
That was a beer commercial.
Was that?
Yeah, it's
no,
beer.
no. I'm talking about the what's it called? The deodorant guy.
Oh,
Like, look at your man, now back at me. Now
Oh,
look at your
that
man,
guy.
now back at me.
yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he was in
Old Spice. It was Old Spice.
Oh, Terry Crews.
No,
Terry Crews did it for a
Terry
little
Crews
while.
came after. Terry Crews was after.
I know, but imagining him in the fighting game.
Okay,
He'd
so
just be the most OP character.
we've had ideas of fighting games. We had PBS vs. Nick Jr. We've had all types of music. We had Transformers v Gundam. Now we've got commercial brawl.
Exactly.
I'd play it. I would play it. I would absolutely play it.
Look, we're kind of easy marks on some of these things, but yeah, that is absolutely, I think, up this podcast alley.
Look, it'd get covered on this. I'm just gonna be honest.
But I think that's the thing that we can say most about this game is that, answer the question, no remake, but yes, we'd like more because I think this is something that could actually bring good, and at this point it's kind of just been, let's just try to sell more M&Ms instead of like, let's make something cool that will then sell M&Ms.
Yeah, again, similar to the Lego movie or something like that.
So-
And it's like Sean said, it's not a gold mine, but there's at least some silver in there that you can dig for.
So all game developers, we've given you an idea. Hershey, hey, we've given you a great idea to market your M&Ms. Mars, wrong chocolate company, but hey, it is Mars. You're right. Everything's chocolate. I'm doing great. Hershey,
Everything's
Mars. Whoever wants to make a chocolate game, look, you Hershey. I'm giving you an idea as well. Compete with the M&Ms. You've just got little like stick figures with like a Hershey's kiss on there.
Oh my god.
Okay, we're off the rails here, but yeah, that's M&M Adventure.
I'm surprised it took that long to get off the rails, to be honest.
A game, and that's basically what we can say. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with us that the M&Ms could make some interesting games? Do you have an idea for a commercial or chocolate-based video game? Well, you can let us know, and we might read it on the podcast by sending us an email to bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. That's bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. Or do you have an idea for a ridiculous game that you want us to play? Maybe you have some of these weird Wii games that you're like, you need to play this. You can make us play those games if you subscribe to our Patreon. Patreon.com/whatthebleep. Patreon.com/whatthebleep. Subscribe to our super bleep head tiers, and for $15 a month, you can tell us to play a game, as long as it does not break the bank. And, Mason tortures us this time. It'll be my turn next time.
I liked it.